Learning to learn is particularly important when teachers are no longer the main source of information and knowledge. A very good morning to everyone. Myself Renudhar from 7th Aulakari. And today, in this episode, I am going to present my learning throughout this academic year. So let us begin. Math. Mathematics is a place where you can do things which you can't do in the real world. Math is an important and interesting subject. I learned many things and concepts in mathematics, but I will share you my conceptual understanding of these three core standards: numerical operations, simple linear equations, and geometry. Numerical operations. We all know the four basic operations: addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. A rational number is a number that can be written as a fraction. In our day to day life, we use rational numbers to share something: interest rates on loans, saving accounts, and taxes in form of fractions. There are many properties of rational numbers, such as closure property, commutative property, associative property, distributive property, inverse property, and identity property. An irrational number is any decimal representation that is non-terminating and non-recurring. We use irrational numbers to calculate the interest on loans or calculate the structure of a building. Powers and exponents. An exponent of a number represents the number of times the number is multiplied to itself. So, now let us try to know the difference between base, exponent, and power. So, let us take an example of 3 to the power of 2. So, here 3 is the base, 2 is the exponent, and the whole 3 to the power of 2 is the power. Therefore, the base plus exponent gives us the power. We also learnt about the laws of exponents, that are multiplying exponents, dividing power law, power of a power, zero law, and negative exponents. Here is my journal work on powers and exponents and rational numbers. Re- Now let us try to know the real life applications of powers and exponents. Calculating the area of any square, to find the scientific notation, and to find exponential growth of computing, we use powers and exponents. While solving the numerical operations, I developed critical thinking, communication skills, problem solving, logical reasoning, analytical thinking, quantitative reasoning, and research skills. Now let us move to simple linear equations. So simple linear equations are the ways to express an equation. When is For example, let us take an equation: 2x minus 40 is equal to 20. It can be said as 40 subtracted from 2 times x gives us 20. In an equation, root is the value of the variable or the solution. When a symbol shifts from one side of the equation to another, the sign changes to its opposite operation. We also learnt about the different ways of showing linear equations, which are balancing method, transposition method, and function machine method. Here is my journal work on what components do we need for a simple linear equation in the form of a mind map. Real life applications of simple linear equations. So, they are used to calculate the speed, distance, time of a moving object, and to calculate money and percentage. While solving linear equations, I developed reasoning, critical thinking, analyzing, designing, spatial sense, and problem solving skills. Geometry. Geometry is the art of correct reasoning from incorrectly drawn figures. The different types of angles in geometry are acute angle, which is less than 90 degrees, right angle, exact 90 degrees, obtuse angle, between 90 and 180 degrees, straight angle, exact 180 degrees, reflex angle, between 180 and 360 degrees, and complete angle, exact 360 degrees. We also learnt about the properties of triangles. which are scalene triangle, isosceles triangle, equilateral triangle, and right angle triangle. Congruency of a triangle. If all the sides and angles of a triangle are equal to the corresponding sides and angles of another triangle, then both the triangles are said to be congruent. There are four conditions to be followed to say two triangles are congruent: SSS, SAS, ASA, and RHS. Here is my journal work based on why angles sum up to 180 degrees in a triangle and construction of parallel lines. We use geometry in real life to construct buildings in honeycomb, sports, and the clock hands which make angles between each other, and many more. While in geometry, I enhanced critical thinking, logical thinking, visual and descriptive skill, deductive reasoning, and problem solving skills. Science. Science is everywhere. The science of today is the technology of tomorrow. Biology, chemistry, and physics are interconnected to each other. These are the three branches of science. There is no true understanding of biology without chemistry, and there is no true understanding of chemistry without physics. Biology is the study of life. Living things depend on each other. They are part of what is called the balance of nature. A person who studies biology is a biologist. Biologists study the diversity of life. While inquiring in biology, the skills I enhanced are communication skills by being relatable and trying to understand the context given in the concept book, thinking skills by knowing how exactly certain things work, research skills by collecting data from books and different sources about each and every aspect. Science of biology. Biologists always look for when they are searching for characteristics of life, structure, or organization. A stimulus is anything that produces a response in an organism or in a cell or tissue of an organism. For example, someone pinching you. These are the levels of organization. We also learnt about symbiosis. So basically, symbiosis means living together. There are three major kinds of symbiosis: mutualism, commensalism, and parasitism. We also learnt about succession, which means changes over time. So there are two types of succession: primary and secondary. Now let us take a real life example. In southern France, there was a forest with a lot of plants and trees over an area, and due to a wildfire, the whole forest got destroyed in July 2009. So the same changes took place after the forest fire, which was taken in the primary succession. Populations increase and decrease. The factors that affect the growth of the population include food, disease, predators, space, and reproduction. Here is the graph of exponential growth in J shape and logistic growth in S shape. Let us take a real life example. So, in a town, there is a large population that is growing day by day because of reproduction and immigration. The large population becomes a problem when the state lacks enough space, enough food, and necessary supplies to live off. Therefore, the population starts decreasing, adapting to life on land. So, plants have many characteristics. A plant is a multicellular eukaryote. They have thick cell walls made of a carbohydrate called cellulose. There are two alternating generations, sporophyte and gametophyte. So we also learnt about animal kingdom and animal characteristics, and this is the internal structure of a leaf. Let us move to chemistry. Everything is theoretically possible until it is done. So you may think that life is the existence of an individual human being. Life is to enjoy, to be happy, and many more. But for us, life is chemistry. Everything we do is chemistry. While inquiring on chemistry, the skills I enhanced are thinking skills for clarifying my thoughts by assessing the information objectively, communication skills by reading the context in the concept book and comprehending, social skills by engaging with others. Acids and bases. So, acids and bases are the form of chemicals that play a vital role in the chemistry. These are the properties of acids and bases. Indicators. So, we also learned about indicators such as turmeric indicator, which is a natural indicator, phenolphthalein indicator, which is made in lab, and methyl orange indicator, which is made in lab. This is an experiment video which is based on turmeric indicator. Neutralization. So basically, it is a reaction that results in the formation of salt and water. During this reaction, energy in the form of heat is evolved. For example, a person suffering from stomach acidity will be treated by giving antacid tablets like Gelusil, which has weak bases and can neutralize the acidity of the stomach. We also learnt about metals and nonmetals. These are the differences between metals and nonmetals. Metalloids, which are also known as semimetals, are the substances that have metal properties and nonmetal properties. There are six metalloids in the periodic table: boron, silicon, germanium, arsenic, antimony, and tellurium. Here are the real life applications on metals, nonmetals, and metalloids. Let us move to physics. Physics is a branch of science that deals with the structure of matter and can understand the natural phenomenon and even predict it. Physics tells us the present, past, and future. The skills I enhanced are self management skills by completing assignments, studying for tests, and staying focused in class, thinking skills for my critical thinking, communication skills by watching videos, comprehending the questions, and social skills by being open minded in the class. Science of sound. So, sound is a sensory experience where ears detect sound. Sound has many important uses, such as to communicate, to design musical experiments, to study earthquakes and climate change. We also learnt about acoustics. So, basically, acoustics is the study of sound. Sound is produced by the disturbance in the matter. That disturbance is known as vibration. Sound always travels through a medium. Frequency is measured in hertz and sound is measured in decibels. So we also learnt about amplitude and frequency. Amplitude corresponds to loudness and frequency corresponds to pitch. The speed of sound is used to calculate the distance by time. We also learnt about the different types of sound, which are audible range, ultrasonic sound, and infrasonic sound. These are the different components of a wave. So, we also learnt about compressions and rarefactions and echo and reverberations. Now, let us move to light. So, light behaves as a wave and a particle. It travels faster than sound. Light has both electric and magnetic fields, which are also related to electromagnetic radiation. We humans, animals, and birds have the visual ability of a complex interaction of light, eyes, and brain. So we also learned about luminous and illuminated objects. So basically luminous objects are the objects which produces their own light and illuminated objects are the objects which do not. Example, sun and light bulb are luminous and moon table books are non-luminous. So a mirage is a phenomenon that creates the illusion of water or an inverted reflection and results from the refraction of light through a non-uniform medium. Basically, they are formed when the air near the surface of the road is hot and much cooler above. We also learnt about the laws of reflection and refraction. So, the real life applications of reflection are mirrors, rearview mirror of a car, microscopes, and glasses. The real life applications of refractions are twinkling of the stars in the sky, light passing through a glass prism into a pure and magnifying glass. This is an experiment video on multiple reflections. We also learned about mirrors and lenses. So here we can see the difference between the concave and convex mirror and the concave and convex lens. Here are a few real life examples of concave and convex mirrors and lenses. Remember that our eye is always a biconvex lens. Social studies. Social studies is one of the most interesting subjects and it helps us by understanding the real world around us. It is the only subject where we learn from yesterday, live for today, and hope for tomorrow. Rivers of India. A river is more than an amenity, it is a treasure. They play a very important part in the water cycle, acting as a drainage channel for surface water. Here is my conceptual understanding of the four rivers of India: Godavari River, Krishna River, Ganga River, and Indus River. Now, economics. Economics is the study of how society uses its limited sources. We also learnt about economic activities and non economic activities. So, economic activities refers to the human activity related to the production and consumption of goods and services for economic gain. For example, my father is working in an industry to support the global and national economies as well as individuals and families. A non economic activity is an activity performed gladly with the aim of providing to others without any monetary gain. For example, I helped my mother in household chores and me taking care of my parents. Economic agents. So they are the decision makers who can recognize the different factors that influence and motivate different economic groups. There are four economic agents: consumers, firms, government, and banking sector. Sectors of economy. So there are three sectors of economy: primary, secondary, and tertiary. To have a clear understanding, let us take a product for instance, which is coal. So here is the process of production of coal. Political science. Political science is a systematic study of governance by the application of empirical and generally scientific methods of analysis. Democracy. So, democracy is a form of government in which rulers are elected by the people on the principle of one person, one vote. Democracy must be based on free and fair elections. Democracy is the government of the people, by the people, and for the people, said by the former United States President Abraham Lincoln. So, for example, the student government elections in our school, where we have the right to choose our president, prime minister, and MP. Universal adult franchise. The universal adult franchise is one of the major features of democracy, which is the right to vote. However, in India, all citizens above the age of 18, irrespective of their caste, creed, religion, and gender, are given the right to vote. The Election Commission of India. So, it is a constitutional body, an independent body to oversee free and fair elections throughout the country. These are the three laws to be followed in the Election Commission of India. So, we also learnt about the role of Election Commission and media. Media is the main source of information. The term fourth estate or fourth power refers to the press and news media. So, mass media means technology that is intended to reach a mass audience. In a democratic country like India, media plays an important role in creating awareness and enlightened citizens. Big History Project. So, basically, the Big History Project is a course that illustrates the importance of using an interdisciplinary approach to solve a complex question. So basically, there are eight thresholds of increasing complexity, and now we are currently in the eighth threshold of the modern revolution. The thresholds of increasing complexity are the turning points of the universe. Any guesses for the next threshold of increasing complexity? Our solar system and Earth. Planets can be large and made of gases, or smaller and rocky like our Earth. The formation process determines the chemical composition of our planet, but also can result in the Goldilocks condition that enable life on Earth to exist. So, we also learned about what caused the planets to form, the plate tectonics theory, and how did the moon form and how was the early Earth in Big History project. Now, let us move to my second language Telugu. తెలుగులో మేము చాలా నేర్చుకున్నాము కానీ నేను రెస్పిరేటింగ్ చిత్ర వివరణ మరియు వేమన పద్యాలలో ఏమి నేర్చుకున్నానో చెప్పబోతున్నాను. రెస్పిరేటింగ్ అంటే కావలసిన పదార్థాలతో ఆహార పదార్థాన్ని ఎలా తయారు చేయాలో నిర్దేశిస్తాం. ఉదాహరణకు పానీపూరిని తీసుకుందాం. ఈ గూగుల్ స్లైడ్ సహాయంతో మీరు రెస్పిరేటింగ్ అంటే ఏంటిదో తెలుస్తుంది. చిత్ర వివరణలో మేము చిత్రంలో అవసరమైన సమాచారాన్ని వివరించే పేరాను వ్రాస్తాము. కింది ఉదాహరణతో మనకు చిత్ర వివరణ ఏంటిదో ఎలా రాయాలో తెలుస్తుంది. వేమన పద్యాలలో మేము నేర్చుకున్న పద్యం మరియు దాని భావం తెలుసుకున్నాం. అంతరంగం ముందు అపరాధములు చేసి మంచివాని వలెన మనదుడండు ఇతరులెరుగకున్న ఈశ్వరుడెరుగడా విశ్వదాభిరామ వినురవేమ. భావం పైకి మంచివాడిగా నటిస్తూ మనసులో చెడుగా ఆలోచించే మనిషి గురించి ఇతరులకు తెలియకపోవచ్చును కానీ దేవుడికి తెలియకుండా పోతుందా? Now let us move to my experience of reflective writing. The capacity to learn is a gift. The ability to learn is a skill. And the willingness to learn is a choice. This is my reflective writing based on my learning experience throughout the year 2021 to 2022.